Hey there, brain buffs and science enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of neurons, receptors, and the tiny molecule players that make our brains tick. Think of it as a backstage pass to the ultimate neurochemical concert. Buckle up as we explore how our brains, body, and chemistry influence everything from learning to mental health. Let's start with the basics. Neurons communicate across tiny gaps called synapses. At these postsynaptic sites, glutamate, the brain's primary excitatory neurotransmitter, acts on special receptors like NMDA and AMPA. These receptors are like the gatekeepers that decide whether a neuron gets excited enough to pass on the message. NMDA receptors in particular are like the VIPs. They require a little extra help, like calcium entering the cell to really get the party started. When calcium floods into the neuron through NMDA receptors, it activates calcium calmodulin dependent protein kinase, or CAMP2 for short. Think of CAMP2 as a master conductor that tunes the neuron's responses, leading to the changes in dendritic spines, the tiny protrusions on neurons that serve as postsynaptic sites. These spines are crucial for synaptic plasticity, which is the brain's way of rewiring itself, kind of like updating the software on the smartphone for better performance. Aberrant synaptic plasticity and dendritic spine defects have been linked to conditions like schizophrenia. Imagine a city where the roads or synapses are misshapen or poorly connected. That's what can happen in these disorders, leading to behavioral changes and cognitive alterations. In fact, abnormalities in postsynaptic density proteins and scaffolding proteins can disrupt the delicate balance of the transactional pathway that keeps neural communication smooth. Let's talk about dopamine, the brain's reward molecule. It binds to D3 receptors in regions like the nucleus accumbens, a key part of the brain's reward circuit. When dopamine hits these receptors, it triggers effectors like mitogen-activated protein kinase, including ERK, extracellular signal-regulated kinase, and phosphoinositide 3 kinase. These signaling cascades lead to neuronal rearrangements, influencing behaviors like motivation and pleasure. But dopamine isn't acting alone. Glutamate and dopamine often team up in a complex dance involving intracellular calcium stores and post-receptor pathways. Serotonin, another neurotransmitter, adds its own flavor to this mix. It's involved in serotonergic transmission and can be measured through metabolites like 5-hydroxynidoleic acid. So whether we're talking about the tiny molecule signals to neurons or the bigger picture of how metabolic and neural pathways interact, one thing clear: our brains and bodies are a complex, beautiful, integrated system. Thanks for joining this quick tour through the mind and body. Stay curious, stay inspired.